All right, guys. So yesterday I talked about Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer, basically announcing that he's going to retire, or there was an announcement that he's going to retire. I don't think he actually said it himself, but that is what the reports are saying, that he's going to retire. And I did a video about how the squad has come out and demanded that Biden keep his promise to nominate a black woman to the Supreme Court. Okay. They want him to nominate a black woman. Okay, they didn't say, hey, I want you to pick the most qualified person, right? They didn't say that. They said, I just want you to put a black woman up there, right? We don't care who it is. Wait, hold on. As long as the black woman is not a conservative, right? If it was a conservative black woman, their blackness would go out the window. They wouldn't be black anymore, right? According to those people on the left. But Biden has responded to this, okay? And he has come out and confirmed that he will indeed nominate a black woman to replace Stephen Breyer on the Supreme Court. Take a look.
Choosing someone to sit in the Supreme Court, I believe, is one of the most serious constitutional responsibility a president has. Our process is going to be rigorous. I will select a nominee worthy of Justice Breyer's legacy of excellence and decency. While I've been studying candidates' backgrounds and writings, I've made no decision except one. The person I will nominate will be someone with extraordinary qualifications, character, experience, and integrity. And that person will be the first black woman ever nominated to the United States Supreme Court. It's long overdue in my view.
All right, guys. So I have so many problems with this, okay, for various reasons, right? And I know there's going to be a lot of people in the comment section. Maybe not a lot of people, but there'll be some people. They'll be like, well, why do you got a problem with this? Why don't you want to see black women win, right? Why don't you want to see black people win? And my response to that is that it's not that I don't want to see black people win. It's that I don't want to see black people win like this, right? Because this actually hurts black people when you do this, right? Biden coming out here saying that I'm going to nominate a black woman simply because she's black, right? And has a vagina, okay? That in and of itself hurts black people. Why? Because it creates the perception that black people can't get anything based off our own merits, right? That's what it does. That's the problem. So the thing is that people celebrate this stuff as it's some type of accomplishment, this woke virtue signaling, this push for so-called forced diversity. Okay, they celebrate that as if that's helping people when it's actually not. What it's doing is that it's creating a stigma that black people literally can't succeed without affirmative action, right? You can't achieve anything without getting help, right? Because of your skin color or your race. That is what this type of stuff does. And what happens with that is that black people who are very talented, who have worked hard, who earn everything that they've gotten, not based off their race, but simply because of the quality of their work, they get disrespected. They get looked down on, right? People automatically think that despite their hard work, despite the quality of the work, that, hey, you're only in your position because you're black, okay? You're not in your position because you earned it, right? You're not in your position because you earned it. You know, there's a reason why the Asian community gets so much respect for their perceived intelligence. It's because they don't do stuff like this, right? They don't do stuff like this. They don't go around saying, hey, you know, you have to accept me. You have to give me a seat at the table. You have to put me in this position. You have to put me in that position. No, because they know that all they got to do is just work hard and outwork everybody else, and they will be in the right position, right? They can just earn the position, okay? Even if there is so-called discrimination, in which, you know, the discrimination against Asians seems to be because of affirmative action, right, and those policies. And we're going to talk about it in a little bit, but I'm just saying, Asians, you know, the culture, I don't want to necessarily stereotype, but I'm just saying here, right? That seems to be more of a, hey, you know what? We're just going to outwork our competition, right? We don't need a hand-me-down or lift me up. We're just going to outwork y'all, right? And again, in a capitalist society, the most productive worker, the person that does the best quality work, they're probably going to get hired, right? But that's not what they're saying to black people. They're not telling you to outwork your competition. They're not telling you to work harder. They're not telling you to work smarter. They're not telling you to take risks. They're not telling you to be the best version of yourself. That's not what they're saying. They're telling you, hey, don't worry about your quality of work. Don't worry about being the best version of yourself. Just worry about your race, right? Just worry about your race and the fact that you can't achieve anything on your own because of your race, right? That's what they're telling you. And that, in my opinion, is destructive. All Biden had to come out here and say is, I'm going to put the most experienced, the most qualified judge on the court. That's all he had to say. And if he ends up putting a black woman up there, at the very least, you can't say where he did it simply because she was black. Like what happened with Kamala, right? We know why Kamala is VP. It's only because she's black, right? It's not because she's qualified. It's only because she's black. That's it. And that makes her an affirmative action vice president, which means that, you know, a lot of people are going to think that she's not qualified to be in the position she's in, which is contributing to her low approval ratings. It's the fact that people didn't think she was qualified in the first place because Joe Biden went out here and said that she's VP simply because she's a black woman. I mean, it's really that simple. This type of stuff hurts black people. Okay, it just does. And I don't understand why people don't get that. You never get respect if people perceive that your success is simply because of your race. You will never get respect, and respect is something that is important, right? It's very important, okay? Especially when you're talking about, you know, getting some of these high-level positions, being in, you know, charge of things, running stuff. Nobody's going to do that if they think that you're only in your position because of your race. And this is especially true if you own a business or something like that, okay? Because as a business owner, you're trying to get customers. And if customers perceive that your product is low quality because you're black, right? Because there's a stigma out here that, hey, black people can get away with lower quality work, right? And that black people don't produce quality work, then you're going to have a hard time running a business, okay? You're going to have a hard time selling products. And you see this pop up in all types of situations, right? For example, y'all heard people complain, like black doctors complain when, you know, patients come in and they question them about if they're actually a doctor, right? And they think it's because of their race. And I'm like, okay, well, if they think it's because of your race, well, why do they think that? Well, they think that because of affirmative action. They think that because they're like, oh, well, they're just letting people become doctors and get into schools based off their race, not based off the quality of their work. So therefore, maybe you're a low quality doctor, right? Maybe you're not a real doctor. I want people to understand how harmful this stuff is, like from a psychological perspective, because a lot of people don't really think about that. But they love complaining about it, but they'll advocate for policies that make people believe those things about black people, the negative stereotypes. It's really that simple. And back to Biden real quick. The thing is this. If I'm Joe Manchin or Kirsten Sinema, and Biden nominates some super far left Supreme Court justice, could Manchin vote to confirm her to the court? Do you think that Manchin would do that? Like, I actually got questions. I think that there would be an issue with that because Manchin is trying to play moderate. Biden is trying to play progressive. Even though he claims he's a moderate, he's trying to play progressive. And Joe Manchin has been against Biden's progressive agenda. Him nominating a super progressive black woman to the Supreme Court would be a progressive agenda. So again, considering Manchin's voting record, right, in the past when it comes to the Biden administration and his refusal to go along with the more progressive aspects of his policies, why would I believe that Joe Manchin would sign up for this, right? So again, I think that this is going to get interesting, right? This is going to get very, very, very interesting. I don't think that it's a foregone conclusion that Biden's going to actually be able to put whoever he wants on the court, right? So with that being said, let's read about this upcoming Supreme Court case about affirmative action that involves Harvard and UNC. Because, you know, hey, Biden's essentially advocating for affirmative action for the Supreme Court. And I find it ironic that the Supreme Court is actually about to hear a case on the constitutionality of affirmative action, right? So I find this to be ironic and perfect timing. The Supreme Court agreed on Monday to decide whether race-conscious admissions programs at Harvard and the University of North Carolina are lawful, raising serious doubts about the future of affirmative action in higher education. The court has repeatedly upheld similar programs, most recently in 2016, but the court's membership has tilted right in recent years, and its new conservative supermajority is almost certain to view the challenge programs with skepticism, imperiling more than 40 years of precedent. That said, race could be used as one factor among many in evaluating applicants. Quote, affirmative action has repeatedly been administered last rights during the last 5 decades, said Dustin Driver, a law professor at Yale. But these two cases unmistakably pose the gravest threats, yet two affirmative actions continue vitality. The case against Harvard accused it of discriminating against Asian American students by using a subjective standard to gauge traits like likability, courage, and kindness, and by effectively creating a ceiling for them in admissions. All right, so you see this, right? The Asians are saying, y'all discriminate against us. We're so good that y'all are discriminating against us, and we're so-called minorities. That is the stereotypes that black people should strive for, right? You should strive to be stereotyped in a way that's like, no, these people are so good that they're discriminating against us, right? We're being discriminated against because we're too good. That's what people should be striving for, okay? Not to stereotype yourself as not being good enough simply based off your race, right? That's not what you should be striving for. Lawyers for Harvard said the challengers had relied on flawed statistical analysis and denied that the university discriminated against Asian American applicants. More generally, they said race-conscious admissions policies are lawful. In the North Carolina case, the plaintiffs made a familiar argument saying the university discriminated against white and Asian applicants by giving preference to black, Hispanic, and Native American ones. The university responded that its admissions policies fostered educational diversity and were lawful under long-standing Supreme Court precedents. If the Supreme Court follows its usual practices, it will hear the arguments in its next term, which starts in October. A decision is not likely until the spring or summer of 2023. All right, so yeah, listen. With the Supreme Court's conservative supermajority here, who knows, right, in terms of what will happen with affirmative action. But what I do know is if they rule affirmative action unconstitutional, which could happen, then I guarantee you, the left would be so upset, right? This would cause the biggest leftist meltdown in history, okay? And this would fuel more calls to pack the Supreme Court, right? Pack the Supreme Court, put more liberal justices up there just because, right? Which, again, I don't think that Biden would actually be able to do. I don't think that a lot of Democrats go along with it, but who knows? But regardless, my point is this, with this whole affirmative action thing, right? You know, listen, I understand the argument for affirmative action that, hey, you know, some people have been historically discriminated against, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But you can't fix past discrimination with more discrimination. What you got to do, right, you know, is allow people to compete based off their own merits, right? That's simply what it is, okay? Because, you know, this type of stuff, in my opinion, creates these negative stereotypes about black people that, in my opinion, is a big issue. But hey, you know, in reference to Joe Biden, you know, if he wants to nominate a black woman, that's on him. But if they're a far left progressive, I'm not necessarily sure if it's going to be an easy task actually getting them on the court, considering Joe Manchin, Kyrsten Sinema. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.